Thank you, sir. Thank you for doing
Nice
this.
meeting you.
Nice to meet you as well. To start, can you please tell me your name and what you do?
I'm Gaurav. I'm the CTO at IO.net. We are part of a Deepen project, the biggest Deepen in terms of supply. And now we are a project which is actually venturing into the AI space by launching our own AI agents and the AI model marketplace pretty soon.
Wow. We'll get into that.
Sure.
Absolutely. But first, could you please just tell me what is IO.net?
So you can imagine when we started the project, it was basically started as a hedge fund by the co-founder. And while solving the problem of GPUs, he actually realized that there's a big demand of GPUs in the market, and people are going to these centralized stores like the Amazons and the Googles, and many a times either they're super costly, which results in a lot of startups not getting the amount of GPU power they want because majority of the funding is getting logged into this inventory, or many a times even if they can afford, they're not getting those numbers at the right time. So they so the ex-founder created a platform with the help of Ray that you can actually create a cluster on distributed compute. That's where we started from. And then over a period of time, when we started becoming bigger and bigger, we actually evolved into the aggregator of aggregators. So now at the present time, we basically have inventory from second tier data centers, which give 5 nines of uptime, and a bunch of normal folks like the college students, the corporates, so on and so forth. And we aggregate all this inventory and provide it to people at a very good price with a very high uptime.
Okay. So let me see if I've got this right. There are centralized GPU networks, but they're more expensive, and there are problems associated with that in terms of when they can provide it and the demand.
That's
right?
correct.
And so you started IO.net started off by making a decentralized version of this.
Yeah.
And as you grew,
Yeah.
now you're an aggregate of aggregators, which
Yes.
is to say, you're like 1 or 2 layers above the actual GPU.
So if you take a step back and
Okay.
think of historically how the industries have evolved in different other spaces. For example, I've been a part of Booking.com group as well. There's a big company here known as Goda in the Southeast Asia side.
Yeah, I know
I
that
was
one,
heading
yeah.
the engineering for the back end and then the AI and data side of things for them.
Cool.
They had a similar kind of problem which they saw in this part of the world. Like for example, let's say you come to Bangkok and you go to Hilton and you say, I need 10 rooms. There's a possibility you may not find it. Let's say you move from Hilton to Marriott. You say, I need 10 rooms. They don't have it. Then you go to another chain. You say 10 rooms. You don't find it. That doesn't mean there's no good hotel at the same level of service which doesn't have a 10 room. It's just that the players you're used to go to, they don't have the inventory at that point in time.
Oh, I see
and
what
that's
you're
an
saying.
exact problem with GPUs. People are so used to going to these centralized players that if they don't find an inventory there, they think it's not there, which is not the case.
Oh, that's
Like the
fascinating.
hotel industries and the Airbnbs have solved it for the hotels and the homes. There's a similar kind of a problems in the GPU space also. That people are let's just focus on the centralized place where they go and try to hire, but there's a bunch of other data centers and other solution providers which can give you a GPU at a very cheap price with a very high uptime, and in fact, to be honest, a very high service also. Because I've been at a place where I'm trying to solve an issue with Amazon or a Microsoft cloud, and I get a response in a week. But a lot of these tier 2 people, they give you an inventory at a very cheap price, and whenever you find an issue, they are there on a call with you within like 30 minutes. So there are these inventory plays which have a very good uptime, very good service, but people are not aware about it. So we created a platform where we aggregate all these inventories from the data centers plus from the normal people. And then we are providing to the users both in Web3 and Web2 at a very good price and with a very high uptime. That's where we started, and in a very short period of time we cracked it. Kudos to our team, which was like coming from different parts of the world with the different backgrounds, which was very fit for this problem. Like I came from a hotel background, an Amazon background, so I knew how to create a platform with scale. There were some people who are from the Web3 industries who knew data centers. There are some people who are very good at creating communities and getting the help from their side. So we created this platform, and now we feel that we have solved the deep inside of the things because we became the biggest supplier, and in the 6 months we realized, okay, now we are there. But what's next? The next thing we took was we took a KPI within the company that we have to be a very, very high in the usage of the supply. It's just not about supply, but the usage of supply also. And you'll be surprised to know that within 2 months, we are 15 plus million in the T&E, right? And very soon it will be exponentially growing, because the way this market works is, let's imagine you are a company, you're a software company, and you need to rent 3 million worth of hardware, right? What normally companies do is they go to these cloud providers or the deepens and all, they take a very small lot, let's say 10 GPUs, and they monitor the uptime and the service for like 15 days, 30 days, and once they have a confidence, then they come with the big orders.
I see.
And that's exactly what we saw. Because we were a crypto Web3 company, there were a lot of Web3 AI players who came to us with small orders, and now they're coming with big orders, right? So that part was solved. And now slowly and steadily, when our sales team is becoming stronger, we have more bandwidth to do and go to Web2 side also, we are seeing a similar pattern that these Web2 players are coming to us with small orders, and because we have a confidence that our prices are good, the uptime is good, they will soon come with these big orders on the Web2 side also. And Web3, by just word of mouth, they're coming in. So that flywheel of Deepen has already started, and we are confident of that business is set. Now what we are actually going towards is the AI play, like any other company, right?
Right, of course, yeah.
Right, for example, when I was in booking part, right, we created a platform for hotel first, then we did flights, then we did car booking and so on and so forth. Similarly, we are evolving into now AI side. We have all this inventory logged in, and now we are creating an AI model marketplace where people can come in at a very cheap price, and in fact for free for some time, can come and get this hardware, create models, deploy models, inference models, and if they do a good work in creating these models, they will be incentivized also to come to the platform.
Right.
And none of the Web2 players ever do that.
Right.
So just imagine there's a Web3 company which has created a platform similar to Web2, free for some time, and at a very cheap price after that. And if you do a good work, give you incentive in terms of tokens.
Yeah.
There's no other Web2 player which does that.
Right.
So this is like ripe to get, like, to explode, we feel, right? And there are a bunch of other things which we are doing in this area. Pretty soon.
That's amazing. And we'll get into that in a second, but forgive my ignorance. I want to step back for a second. I'm just I'm a little confused on why is it more expensive for a Web 2 company? I mean, why is it when someone goes to rent GPUs from a Web 2 company, is it so much more expensive than like a decentralized?
It's basically the economy of scale and how you're solving the problem. Let's say you're a data center. Forget about even central, you're just a data center. And you give your supply to, let's say, a Web 2 player. And you got a revenue of $10 million from them. That company is doing a good business. They were in US, and you also have a data center in US. Now that company is going to Singapore, and because you have a good relationship with them, they're saying, can you please give me a GPUs in Singapore also? Now see the amount of work and money you have to invest in getting the inventory in Singapore. You have to either buy a place or rent a place in Singapore, which is extremely costly.
Capital expenditure.
You have to hire a team, right? Hiring a team, everyone knows that hiring a good team takes time, takes investment, not just in terms of money, but your time also as executives, as managers, as team members, because you have to hire a good person, you take interviews, so you get distracted from your core work. That also is there, that's impact there. And the third thing is you have to go to NVIDIA of the world, give them a bunch of money, and then they'll ship, then you have to set up. There's a huge amount of lag in terms of uptime when this hardware will be live, plus the money piece we already spoke about, right? Now that part is not there in Deepen. When we scale, if tomorrow you come and say, we need 1,000 more GPUs in Singapore, we don't need to go to Singapore, rent a place, hire a place and all. We already have a stack. There are a bunch of people sitting in the queue to come in.
Oh wow!
Right, like the huge amount of inventory is sitting in. Like if you come and become like a part of our AMAs, you'll see every time they say we want to be part of the network, we want to be part of the network. Right. But we make sure the suppliers are always profitable also as an ecosystem, as a team together with the community. So there are a lot of people who want to come in, and they're from all part of the world. So if we have to meet that demand, for us, the time taken to go live with this inventory is extremely small. Plus the amount of money we have to spend is negligible.
Right,
It's just like putting 2 more boxes for scale,
Right.
and we are there because
Right.
our stack is horizontally scalable. We already made it. We have invested in that time in past 1 year. So it's just about adding 2 more boxes.
Yeah.
Job done.
Nice.
On the other side, the centralized players have to do all this hard work
Yeah.
to get there. That's the main thing.
Yeah. I'd also imagine though that there's this notion that these big incumbents haven't really had to compete. So
Exactly. And because they have to like spend this money and time,
Yeah.
they try to take their prices up so that they can actually recoup that money which they have spent. And that's a fundamental difference which is there.
Yeah.
And the third thing is, like, to be honest, is it's the ethos of Web3. Like when we build the company and when we all have discussion within the company also, it's about making the business for sure, but it's always about the community also. Like each time we have a discussion, there's a business aspect to it and there's a community aspect to it also. Because in Web3, we take everyone together,
Yeah.
which is not the case many
Right.
times in a lot of Web2 companies.
Yeah,
That's where
exactly.
the difference also comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. So let's jump back into this AI stuff because this is
Sure.
very exciting. So this product hasn't launched yet.
We have built it,
You built it.
but we have seen in past that the moment we launch any product, the scale at which people come and use is huge.
okay, so you wanna
we
make
don't
sure.
want to put up a product which is ready,
Yeah.
but if let's say a huge number of people come in, it has glitches. We don't want to have that bad experience. So we want to take a time, a month and a half more to be more matured for scale also. And that's what we're working behind the scenes. And I think in the month and a half when we are there, then we'll launch it
Okay.
in the public side.
And can you just kind of at a higher level walk me through how this will work? So for example, I'm a user. I'm interested in generating a model
Yep.
for me personally.
Yeah.
What do I do?
So there are 2 products which we'll build. Totally different. Some similarity, but totally different, right? So one, you can think of it as, there are a lot of people in the world who've done a good job for public. They've created good models, very, very helpful models, but no other company has incentive to deploy those models on the GPUs and give it for free,
Okay.
right? Because, or with a little amount of money also, because the amount of ROI they have is like negligible for them, right?
Right.
And we don't come from that kind of thought process. We feel that if there is some work which has been done by other people, let's get the benefit of those models to the community overall. So one product we are building is wherein these popular models in all, like there are a bunch of llama models, there are a lot of, like, let's say language models,
Yeah.
like if you want to learn, let's say Korean, Mandarin, if you want to take inputs for the law advice, the games,
okay.
so many models
Yeah.
just specialized in this area.
Yeah.
We'll take all those models, we'll deploy it for the community, and they can come and interact, right? And I think we'll initially give it for free, and then from there we'll take a look how the scaling, and if we really have to invest in the resources in the background because it's scaling a lot,
Right.
then we need to take care of us in terms of revenue a bit so that we don't like get burnt out.
Yeah, of
But
course,
initially to a certain scale it'll be for community, right?
Right.
That's one product
Gotcha.
where if you also have a popular product, you can come and deploy and it'll be given to the public, right? And if the model does well, we'll incentivize. That's one product. The second product is just for developers. And in my opinion, it's basically like how we did it at a time when Android was launched or the Apple platform was launched, which is we're creating an ecosystem where developers can come in and initially at a very low price or for some time even free, they can come in, they can create the model here. We'll give them the tools to create the model here, deploy the model, and people can use it. And if they do a good work, then they get incentivized. So it's basically like creating an ecosystem where developers will hop on and they'll start to innovate stuff. And they know that if the same work they do on any other Web2 platform, they have to first of all give the money from their pocket right from time T0.
Yeah.
And even if they do a good job, they have to again go to their bank, bring the money,
Yeah.
hire a GPU and then deploy it.
Yeah.
All these things, we'll take care for them. And if the model does well, then we'll incentivize also. And this is basically what we want. The intent is to increase this whole ecosystem in the Web3 side, people to be aware how Web3 works, how they can take advantage of Web3. And increase more and more adoption of AI. And as a part of that, I think that's what will bring the maximum number of, we believe, the users in the AI space and the Web3 space going forward. That's what we believe.
Very, very cool. And I'm unfamiliar with the costs associated with this. So let's say a developer does this at a traditional player, deploys a model. How much does that cost?
It could be. So, 2 data points, right?
Okay.
So historically what we did was we went to these centralized players and saw the price. We were almost like 75% cheaper.
Really?
Yes. And then we thought that maybe it's just the centralized players who are there that costly. Maybe the tier 2 data centers are not that costly. That's what we felt. And we are like totally heads down doing development, so we don't do this exploration more often, which we should. But then really recently, the month of October, there was a NVIDIA summit, AI summit in Mumbai. And we have some developers and senior leaders in India also. So we asked them that why don't you go there and see what are the other players doing other than these centralized players, big centralized players. And when they went there, like genuinely we were surprised that our prices were hands down cheaper than even the tier 2 data centers.
Really?
Right. So the amount of money which these developers have to spend on a platform like us is 75 to 80% cheaper than the other players. Like
that's impressive.
It's extremely beneficial. And imagine like how the ecosystem will evolve. If you are a company who's creating an AI product, and let's say you have a $10 million funding, you'll be surprised that almost 30 to 40 plus percentage of your money goes in these resources. And if this price is cut like 70-80% lower, they can hire data scientists, they can hire engineers, and then the innovation will just exponentially increase. So this bottleneck will be totally removed.
Wow. So looking forward a couple years, so I mean, AI to me is very fascinating. I use it in my daily life all day long. So I mean, I definitely get it and I'm excited about it, but I still haven't quite wrapped my head around where it's going to go, because it's almost too big to think about. But
no, it'll be everywhere. To be honest, it'll be everywhere. I think what you'll realize, I've been part of the AI game from like last 8-10 years, and what people realize is they try to create a generic model solving everything, and that's extremely hard. So a lot of these players over the period of time, they realize that if you create specialized product for a specialized problem, your ROI of the model is much higher, and the amount of investment you do in terms of development also is much lower. Because of multiple stuff, right? That the amount of data you have to feed into the model is much lower compared to a generic model. If you have a smaller data set to give, then you can remove the biases from the data very easily, right?
That makes a lot of sense.
Getting an expert to get a feedback on the model is also very easy. So if you create specialized models, you will see a much more success. But there's always a hype, and during the hype, people hop in. It has happened in the time of internet also. Like initially, I saw one interview of Bill Gates, and somebody was saying, okay, why do we need internet? We already have TV and radios. Why do you need it? And in late 90s, people were saying, no, this internet is just hype. And here we are.
Exactly.
So I think similar thing is with the AI also. People thought it's an unsolvable problem, but kudos to OpenAI and some other companies who have solved it. And once people see that this problem is solved, now these bunch of people are having confidence that somebody has done it. Now it's a solvable problem, and they're jumping in. I think good amount of people will not succeed, but there are a good amount of people who will succeed also. And I think that's what I'm excited about.
Where do you see the GPU providing decentralized GPU networking space going in the next couple of years? It's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger?
It's going to get bigger and bigger, right? Some people say, like I heard an argument in one of the talks I was doing yesterday in DEF CON, and then eventually the guy got convinced. And they were saying, no, but we already have an NVIDIA H100. If somebody comes with a new one, like nobody will use it. And I told him, like, dude, we had M1s a long time back. And majority of the people are okay with M1s, but still when the M2 gets launched, they go to that. When M3 gets launched, they go to that. Why? Because they see that the amount of work and the speed at which that work can be done on the new hardware
Yeah.
is far faster,
Yeah.
far efficient. Right?
Yeah.
Can you get by with the old hardwares? Yes. But will your efficiency and throughput will be high with new hardware? That's also a big yes.
Right.
And that's why you see the adoption anytime a new hardware comes in is pretty high. So this flywheel of new hardware coming in, people jumping on the new hardware, innovating a bit more with this new hardware, will keep going on and on and on, right?
Yeah.
And I personally feel that in few years, there'll be two kind of companies. There'll be companies who will use AI, and there'll be companies who will not use AI. And the companies who will use AI will flourish, and companies who will not use AI will slowly and steadily will wither down and will be out of the market, right?
Yeah.
Because you just practically see small things. Like if you have a support team, and if you're growing as a company, and let's say you had 5% of issues for 100, let's say, bookings you do on a particular platform, let's say Amazon,
Yeah.
and you have 5% issues in 100 bookings. As a business, when you grow from 100 to 200,000,
Yeah.
either you can throw people
Yeah.
or you can throw technology.
Right.
And that's where AI comes in. The AI tools, the AI solutions, the AI suggestions, which you will create to support these people,
Yes.
will be very, very helpful. And the amount of people you will need will be much, much smaller
Yeah.
to actually solve the same problem at a much higher scale.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm giving an example of a support team. It's everywhere. It's for developers also.
Right.
Suggestion of codes. It will be in every facet
Yeah.
of a business problem. So you better adopt to AI. Otherwise, you'll see that other players are like just way too ahead in
Yeah.
the game, and it'll be hard to catch up.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the demand for GPUs will be insatiable for,
So that's where
foreseeable future.
Yeah, that's where I see like when people will start to realize that if they don't adopt to AI, they're just falling back.
Yeah.
Then everybody will try to innovate, and everybody will try to innovate. What is the fundamental thing they need?
Yeah. Exactly.
Two things: engineers,
Yeah.
the data scientists,
Yeah.
and the GPUs.
yeah.
So the usage is going to increase.
Yeah. So my last question is a lot of like crypto mining, specifically Bitcoin mining companies have kind of not pivoted, but they've started to incorporate GPU production, right, or for AI into their company. Those wouldn't be competitors to you. Those would be providers of inventory, I suppose.
So it's just my opinion.
Okay.
And this market is so big, and it's just going to be bigger and bigger, that it's not a winners take all market. So I think if more and more players come, it's good for the industry because the adoption will increase. And as you see with us also, right? The players who actually flourish in business is people who just don't sit on one problem and one solution, right? Like as I said in the beginning of the interview, we went with Deepen, we have solved it. But I think now what we have to do is we have to go one level up, wherein you have to go give more value-added services by AI plays, AI ecosystems, and those are the companies which will just keep flourishing and all, right?
Right.
So will there be need of more Deepens, more of these players who will give GPUs? Absolutely yes. But we are here to become much more than a Deepen.
Right.
We started with that to lock in the inventory. We have done that.
Yeah.
That business is solved. It will keep organically growing.
Right.
But now we are going up and up and up.
I see.
And we see there's a huge amount of opportunity and business on that side also. And looking at the team and how they've performed in past 1 year, I'm very, very hopeful that we'll kill it.
Okay,
pretty
cool.
soon.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.